I'm Olivia Reed, 28, a military widow and single mom to my 8-year-old son, Lucas Reed. My husband, Jacob Reed, died in Afghanistan 3 years ago when an IED hit his convoy, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and his name on a folded flag. It left me with a kid, survivor benefits, and a life that felt empty. Lucas is the spitting image of his dad, same stubborn chin, same serious dark eyes that take in everything. The kid's been through hell losing his father, but he's tough as nails, has to be, considering the circus that is my biological family. My parents, Diane and Gregory Miller, are professional victims with a side hustle in emotional manipulation. They've been bleeding me dry for years to support my younger brother, Tyler Miller, who's 26 and has never held a job longer than a Netflix series. For 3 years since Jacob died, it's been the same routine. Tyler needs help with rent, Tyler's car broke down again, Tyler's going through a rough patch, always Tyler, never ending, like I won the lottery when my husband got blown up overseas. I work at a sporting goods store in Tucson, making $16 an hour plus commission, not exactly rolling in cash, but Jacob's life insurance and my smart investments keep us comfortable. We live in a decent rental house in the foothills. Lucas plays Little League, takes karate classes, and has everything he needs. The thing is, my family sees those survivor benefits and thinks I'm sitting on a gold mine. They don't see the nightmares, the single parenting struggles, or the fact that no amount of money brings back the man I loved. They just see dollar signs and opportunity. Uncle James Carter, Jacob's uncle, has been like a father figure since Jacob died, a retired Marine who owns a small construction company and the only person in either family who calls my parents on their nonsense. He's the one who taught me about real estate investing and helped me start building wealth instead of just surviving. Your husband died for this country, he told me 2 years ago. Don't let these leeches dishonor his sacrifice by bleeding his family dry. Then there's Jacob's brother, Ethan Carter, a paralegal and basically my unpaid legal advisor. He's been helping me navigate military bureaucracy, estate planning, and recently, some property acquisitions my family knows nothing about. See, while my parents think I'm scraping by and sending Tyler money out of desperation, I've been quietly building an empire. Every spare dollar from my commissions, every side gig watching neighbors' kids, every tax refund, it all goes into real estate investments that Uncle James helps me manage. The crown jewel of my portfolio? A rundown duplex in South Tucson that my parents have been renting for the past 7 years. Yeah, you heard that right, their landlord is me, and they have no idea. The property went into foreclosure 14 months ago, and I bought it through an LLC that Ethan helped me set up, cost me $78,000 cash, plus another $12,000 to fix the AC and plumbing. My parents think some property management company owns it. They've been writing their $1,400 monthly rent checks to their own daughter for almost a year, but I never planned to use this against them. It was just good business, buy low, fix up, collect steady rent from reliable tenants. My parents, despite their flaws, had always paid on time, until they didn't. Last month, Tyler's rent came due for his studio apartment near the University of Arizona, $100 for a place that's basically a glorified dorm room where he plays video games and figures out his life path. As usual, he called Mom crying about eviction. Diane called me, demanding I fix it. He's your brother, she said during her guilt trip phone call. Jacob would want you to help family. Don't you dare bring my dead husband into this. Jacob worked 2 jobs in high school, enlisted at 18, and never asked anyone for a handout in his life. He'd be disgusted by Tyler's freeloading, but saying that would start World War III. I sent the money like always because it was easier than dealing with the drama, but something was different this time. Maybe it was Lucas asking why Uncle Tyler never visits but always needs money, or Uncle James pointing out that I'd sent Tyler over $15,000 in the past year alone, or maybe I was just done being treated like a walking ATM by people who should have been supporting me through widowhood. So I made a decision: no more Tyler money, no more bailouts, no more guilt trips about family responsibility from people who treated my son like an afterthought. I had no idea this decision would trigger a war that would change everything. Tyler texted me again, rent due tomorrow. Need $1,100. Parents said you'd handle it, not, please, just a straight-up demand like I'm his personal bank account. I texted back, can't do it this month. Figure it out. Radio silence for about 2 hours, then my phone exploded. Diane called first, screaming before I even said hello. What do you mean you can't help? Then maybe he should get a job, I said, watching Lucas practice batting in our backyard. He's looking for work. You know how hard it is for young people these days, she said. Tyler's 26, not some fresh-faced college grad, but whatever, Mom, I can't keep funding his lifestyle. I have my own kid to worry about. Your kid has everything he needs, Tyler has nothing, she snapped. My kid has everything because I work for it, Tyler has nothing because he won't work for it, not my problem anymore. She hung up. 10 minutes later, Gregory called. You're being selfish, he said without even saying hello. Jacob's benefits aren't just for you. The nerve of bringing up Jacob's death benefits like they were family money instead of compensation for my husband's life made my blood boil. Those benefits are for his son, not Tyler's rent. Lucas is fine, he doesn't need karate classes and fancy baseball equipment. Tyler needs a roof over his head, he said. I hung up on him, too. That evening, Lucas was doing homework at the kitchen table when I got another call. This time, it was Tyler himself, and he was pissed. What the hell, Olivia? Mom said you're cutting me off? I'm not cutting you off, I'm just not paying your rent anymore. There's a difference. Same thing, how am I supposed to live? The same way every other adult lives, get a job. It's not that simple, you don't understand the economy right now. I understand it fine, I work in it every day. You get Jacob's money, you don't even need to work, he said. And there it was, the thing they all believed but never said out loud. Tyler, I'm done with this conversation, figure your life out. I hung up and immediately called Uncle James. They're going to escalate this, I can feel it coming, I told him. Good, he said, been waiting 3 years for you to grow a backbone about this. What do you need? I need to know my options, all of them. James connected me with Ethan that night, and we had a 3-way call that lasted 2 hours. By the end of it, I had a plan. My family's biggest weakness was their complete ignorance about my financial situation. They thought I was broke and desperate, just sending Tyler money out of family obligation. They had no idea about my investment portfolio, my property holdings, or the fact that I was about to start documenting everything. But what happened next? I never imagined it would go this far. The next day, I came home from work to find Diane and Gregory's car in my driveway. They were sitting on my front porch like they owned the place, and the look on Gregory's face told me this wasn't going to be a friendly conversation. Lucas was inside doing homework at the kitchen table, visible through the front window. I really didn't want him to witness whatever was about to happen, but they'd clearly been waiting for me. We need to talk, Diane said the moment I got out of my car. Not here, not in front of Lucas, I said. Yes, here, Gregory said, standing up, this ends today. I unlocked my front door, hoping I could at least keep this civil until I got them away from my son, but the moment we stepped inside, Gregory started in. You're going to transfer $1,100 to Tyler right now, he said, following me into my living room. Lucas looked up from his math homework, sensing the tension. Mom, is everything okay? Everything's fine, baby, just finish your homework, I said. Don't tell him everything's fine, Gregory started yelling. Tell him his mom is abandoning her family. Lower your voice, you're scaring my son, I said. Good, maybe he should know what kind of person his mother really is, he snapped. That's when I stepped between Gregory and Lucas. You need to leave now. We're not leaving until you transfer that money, he said. It's not happening, I replied. Gregory's face went red. Jacob would be ashamed of you, don't you dare. Jacob died for this country, and you're pissing away his sacrifice on your selfishness. Get out, I shouted, losing my temper, get out of my house. That's when Gregory snapped. He hit me hard, a full-force backhand across the face that sent me stumbling backward into the coffee table. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. Lucas screamed, Mom. I tasted blood immediately, my lips split and swelling, but what happened next was worse than the pain. Gregory wasn't done. You want to disrespect me and my own family? He grabbed me by the shirt and shoved me against the wall. You want to act like you're better than us? Stop. Lucas was screaming, crying, trying to get between us. Stop hitting my mom. Diane didn't stop Gregory, she didn't call for help, she just stood there watching her husband beat their daughter while their grandson begged him to stop. Gregory grabbed my hair and pulled my head back. You're going to transfer that money, or this gets worse. Gregory, that's enough, Diane finally said, but only because Lucas was hysterical. No, it's not enough, Gregory snapped. Lucas threw himself at Gregory, his small fists pounding against Gregory's legs. Leave my mom alone. Gregory shoved Lucas away so hard that my 8-year-old son hit the floor and slid into the kitchen table. His head made a sickening thud against the table leg. That's when something inside me broke. I stood up, shaking so badly, and started screaming louder. Get the hell out of my house, get away from my son. Not until, I screamed with a voice I didn't recognize, get out before I call the police. Something in my tone must have penetrated Gregory's rage because he finally stepped back. This isn't over, you'll regret this. You're right, this isn't over, I said. They left, slamming my door so hard it cracked the frame. Lucas was sobbing in my arms, trembling like a leaf. I called Uncle James with shaking hands while Lucas clung to me. They beat me, I said when he answered. In front of Lucas, Gregory put his hands on my son. The silence on the other end lasted 5 seconds. "I'm on my way, call 911 now." "I can't, Lucas is too scared," I said. "Olivia, listen to me, call 911, take pictures of everything, this ends tonight," he said. That night, while Lucas slept in my bed because he was too scared to be alone, I sat in my kitchen taking photos of my injuries and planning Diane and Gregory's complete destruction. They had no idea what they'd just started. After 20 minutes, Uncle James arrived with my brother-in-law, Ethan. "Those bastards," Ethan said, "this isn't just assault anymore, this is domestic violence in the presence of a minor." "I don't want to file charges yet," I said, "I want to end this permanently and completely." I pulled out my laptop and showed them my property portfolio, my voice getting stronger with each asset I listed. "I want them to understand exactly who they've been messing with, but I want to do it right, completely permanent." Ethan grinned. "I like where this is going." We spent the next 3 hours planning what Ethan called shock and awe. First step was documentation. I started saving every guilt trip text, every demanding voicemail, every nasty comment they'd made about me not supporting family. Ethan helped me organize it all into a timeline that showed 3 years of financial abuse. Second step was cutting off all voluntary contact. No more holiday visits, no more answering their calls, no more pretending we were a normal family. Lucas and I were going full no contact. Third step was the nuclear option, which I wasn't ready to deploy yet, but having it ready felt like holding a loaded gun. "Are you sure about this?" James asked. "Once you pull these triggers, there's no going back." I thought about Lucas, about the kind of man I wanted him to become. Did I want him to grow up thinking it was normal to let people abuse you because they're family, or did I want him to see that sometimes you have to fight back? "I'm sure," I said. The next morning, I got a text from Tyler. "Heard Mom and Dad visited you yesterday, hope you came to your senses." I screenshotted it and added it to my evidence file. That afternoon, Diane called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a 5-minute rant about how I was destroying everything and abandoning my responsibilities. Screenshot, evidence file. Gregory called that evening, another voicemail, this one threatening to take action if I didn't fix this situation immediately. Screenshot, evidence file. This went on for a week. Calls, texts, voicemails, even messages through Lucas's school, which earned them a very firm conversation with the principal and a note in their security file. Every interaction got documented and filed away. They were building my case for me. Friday night, Uncle James called with news. Gregory applied for a loan at my credit union, listed me as a reference. "What did you tell them?" "The truth, that he's been unemployed for 3 years, has no assets, and survives off his daughter's charity. They denied the application," he said. "Good, there's more?" "He also applied for a second mortgage on the duplex they're renting," James said. I started laughing. He can't get a second mortgage on a property he doesn't own. That's what the bank told him. He threw a fit, demanded to speak to the manager, claimed there was some kind of mistake in the paperwork, James said. "Did they tell him who actually owns it?" "No, but he's getting suspicious. Asked the bank if they could contact the real owner about a loan modification," he said. "Perfect. My parents were so desperate for money that they were trying to leverage property they didn't even own. This was going to make the final reveal even sweeter." Saturday morning, I was getting ready for Lucas's Little League game when my phone started buzzing with notifications. Someone was mass texting our extended family about me. The message, sent from Diane: "Olivia has abandoned her family in our time of need. Tyler is facing homelessness because she refuses to help. We raised her better than this. Please talk sense into her before she destroys our family." My phone immediately started ringing. Cousins, aunts, family, friends, everyone wanting to know what was going on. I sent the same response to everyone. There are 2 sides to every story. Diane and Gregory have been financially abusing me since Jacob died. I have documentation if you're interested in the truth. 3 people asked for the documentation. I sent them the timeline Ethan had helped me prepare. Their responses were unanimous. "Holy crap, I had no idea. Good for you for standing up to them." But Diane wasn't done. Sunday afternoon, she posted on Facebook, "Heartbroken that my daughter has chosen money over family. Tyler is homeless because Olivia refuses to help her own brother. Praying that God will soften her heart before it's too late." The post got 12 likes and 43 comments. Most of the comments were from people asking for context or pointing out that Tyler was an adult who should support himself. That's when Ethan called with the best news yet. "They're 3 months behind on rent," he said. "The property management company just sent me the report. Your parents owe $4,200 in back rent plus late fees." "How is that possible?" "Looks like they stopped paying when you stopped sending Tyler money. They've been using their rent money to support him instead," he said. I couldn't believe it. My parents were so committed to enabling Tyler that they'd rather face eviction than tell him to get a job. What are our options? Legally, we can start eviction proceedings immediately, 30-day notice, then sheriff removal if they don't comply, Ethan said, and the nuclear option, ready when you are. But Olivia, once we deploy that, it's going to get ugly fast. Do it, I said, all of it, time to end this war. Monday morning, I walked into work feeling like I was about to drop the hammer of Thor. Ethan had spent the weekend preparing what he called the package, a coordinated legal assault that would hit my parents from 3 different directions simultaneously. First salvo, eviction notice, since they were 3 months behind on rent for $4,200 plus $600 in late fees, we had grounds for immediate action. The notice would be served by certified mail and sheriff's deputy, giving them 30 days to pay up or get out. Second salvo, cease and desist letters regarding the harassment campaign. Every Facebook post, every mass text, every attempt to involve Lucas's school would be documented as harassment of a military widow. Ethan was going full legal theater on this one. Third salvo, the reveal. Once the eviction notice hit, they'd start asking questions about their mysterious landlord. That's when they'd learn the truth about who really owned their home. The eviction notice was served Tuesday at 2:47 p.m. My phone started ringing at 2:52 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. Diane's message was pure hysteria. Olivia, what did you do? We got some eviction notice, call me right now. 5 minutes later, Gregory called, his message more angry than panicked. I don't know what game you're playing, but you better fix this, we're not moving anywhere. I screenshotted the call logs and added them to my evidence file, then texted Uncle James. It started. His response, about damn time. Wednesday morning brought more frantic calls. This time, they were asking about lawyers, tenant rights, fighting the eviction. I let it all go to voicemail and forwarded everything to Ethan. They're scrambling, he reported, called 3 different law offices yesterday asking about emergency injunctions. Nobody will take the case because they legitimately owe the money. What about Tyler? Haven't heard from him yet, but give it time, he said. I didn't have to wait long. Tyler showed up at my house Wednesday evening while I was helping Lucas with homework. Didn't knock, didn't call ahead, just walked up to my front door and started pounding on it like he was the police. Olivia, open up, we need to talk. I looked through the peephole. What do you want? What do I want? What the hell did you do to Mom and Dad? I have no idea what you're talking about, I said, opening the door but keeping the security chain latched. Don't play stupid, they got evicted from their house, and somehow you're involved, he said. They got evicted because they stopped paying rent, not my problem, I said. That's nonsense, you did something. I know you did, he snapped. Lucas appeared at my elbow, looking concerned. Mom, who is it? Nobody important, honey, go finish your homework, I said. Tyler saw Lucas and his expression softened slightly. Hey, buddy, remember your Uncle Tyler? You're not my uncle, Lucas said matter-of-factly. My Uncle James says real uncles don't make moms cry. Tyler's face went red. Olivia, we need to talk without the kid around. We're done talking, Tyler. You and our parents made it clear that my family's stability means nothing to you, so your problems mean nothing to me, I said. Families don't assault each other in their homes. Okay, Olivia, I know Dad might have gotten a bit angry, but, goodbye, Tyler, I said, shutting the door and locking all 3 deadbolts. Tyler stood on my porch for another 10 minutes, finally giving up and leaving. Thursday brought the cease and desist letters. Ethan had them delivered to my parents' house and Tyler's apartment simultaneously. The letters were beautiful, 4 pages of legal language essentially saying, stop harassing my client or face criminal charges. Diane called me crying, actual tears, hyperventilating, the whole performance. Olivia, please, I don't understand what's happening. We got these legal papers and an eviction notice, and Tyler says you're behind it somehow. Please just tell me what we did wrong. You beat me in front of my son. You turned my home into a crime scene because I wouldn't give you money. You traumatized a kid who already lost his father, and you still have the nerve to ask what you did wrong, I said. The legal papers are real, the eviction is real, the consequences of your choices are real, deal with it. I hung up and immediately called Ethan. They're breaking, I told him. Good, Gregory called my office today, trying to find out who's representing them in the eviction. When my secretary told him we represent the landlord, he lost his mind. Ethan said, he knows? Not yet, but he's starting to put pieces together. How do you want to handle the reveal? Let them figure it out themselves, it'll be more satisfying that way, I said. Friday morning, my property management company called. Mrs. Reed, we just got a very strange call from your tenants. They're demanding to speak directly with the property owner about negotiating the eviction, the manager said. What did you tell them? That the owner prefers to remain anonymous and all communication goes through us, but they're being very aggressive. The male tenant threatened to expose the owner if we don't arrange a meeting. He claims the eviction is part of some family vendetta and he's going to prove it, she said. Honestly, Mrs. Reed, these people sound unhinged. They had no idea how unhinged things were about to get. The weekend was quiet, which should have been my first warning. My parents are many things, but they're not quitters. I found out why on Monday morning. Lucas and I were getting ready for school and work when someone started banging on my front door, not knocking, full fist pounding like they were trying to break it down. I looked through the peephole. Gregory, Diane, and Tyler, all three of them on my front porch at 7:30 a.m., and none of them looked like they were here for a friendly chat. Olivia. Gregory shouted, "Open this door right now." Lucas looked scared. "Mom, what do they want?" "I don't know, baby, but we're not answering," I said. "We know you're in there," Diane screamed. I grabbed my phone and called Uncle James. "They're at my house, all three of them. They look pissed," I said. "I'm minutes away. Don't open that door," he said. "Olivia," Tyler joined the shouting match. "We know what you did." Ah, so they'd finally put the pieces together. The pounding continued for another 10 minutes. My neighbors started coming out to see what the commotion was about, which seemed to embarrass my parents enough to dial it down slightly, but they didn't leave. Uncle James's truck pulled up just as Gregory was starting to kick my door. "Problem here?" he asked calmly. "This doesn't concern you, James," Gregory said, but he stepped away from my door. "My niece is calling me scared because you're trying to break down her door." "Yeah, that concerns me." "She's not your niece," Diane snapped. "She's our daughter, and she's destroyed our family." "How's that?" Tyler stepped forward, practically vibrating with rage. "She owns our house, she's been our landlord this whole time, and she's evicting us for revenge." "Ha," James scratched his beard. "Smart investment." "It's manipulation," Gregory roared. "She bought our house to control us." "Actually," I said, opening the door wider, "I bought it because it was undervalued and needed a responsible landlord. The fact that you're terrible tenants who don't pay rent is just a bonus." Diane started crying. "How could you do this to us? We're your parents." "You're tenants who assaulted their landlord," I said. "Seems like a conflict of interest." "We didn't assault anyone," Gregory protested. "Gregory," James looked at him skeptically. "I saw the bruises. That's how you negotiate rental agreements?" "That was a misunderstanding," Gregory said. "Misunderstanding?" I pulled out my phone and showed them the photos I'd taken of my bruised arm. "This was a misunderstanding?" Tyler snatched the phone before I could react, started swiping through the photos, seeing all the documentation I'd been collecting. "You've been planning this for months." "Give me back my phone," I said. "Not until you delete these photos," he said. Uncle James stepped closer. "Son, you're going to give her that phone back right now, or we're going to have a bigger problem." Tyler looked at James, then at the phone, then made the stupidest decision of his life. He threw my phone as hard as he could onto my concrete driveway. The sound of it shattering was like a gunshot. "Tyler!" I screamed. "That had everything on it." "Good," he shouted back. "No more evidence for your sick revenge fantasy." That's when Uncle James grabbed Tyler by the shirt and lifted him clean off the ground. "You just destroyed evidence in a harassment case, you little punk. That's a felony." "I didn't harass anyone," Tyler said. "Really?" "Because I've got security cameras that just recorded you destroying property after threatening a military widow," James said. Tyler went pale. "You're bluffing." James pointed to the discrete cameras mounted under his truck's side mirrors. "Try me." He set Tyler down but didn't let go of his shirt. "Here's what's going to happen. You three are going to get in your car and leave. You're not going to contact Olivia again. You're not going to come to her house again. You're going to find somewhere else to live by your eviction deadline. Are we clear?" "Or what?" Gregory challenged. "Or I release the security footage to the police, and you get arrested for criminal trespass, destruction of property, and harassment of a military family. Your choice," James said. They left. After they drove off, Uncle James helped me collect the pieces of my phone. Most of it was destroyed, but the SIM card survived. "Don't worry," he said. "Everything was backed up to the cloud anyway." Ethan made sure of that. That afternoon, I got a call from Ethan on my work phone. "Just got off the phone with Gregory. He wants to negotiate." "Negotiate what?" "He's offering to pay the back rent if you agree to let them stay and stop the harassment charges," Ethan said. "What harassment charges?" "The ones I'm filing this afternoon: destruction of property, criminal trespass, threatening behavior toward a military widow. Your uncle's security footage is pure gold," he said. For the first time in years, I felt like I held all the cards. "What do you think I should do?" "What do you want to do?" "I want them gone," I said. "Then let's make that happen," Ethan said. The negotiation that Gregory wanted turned out to be the most pathetic thing I've ever witnessed. Ethan set it up for neutral ground, his law office conference room, with Uncle James and me on one side, Gregory and Diane on the other. Tyler wasn't invited because he was officially considered hostile after the phone incident. Gregory opened with what he clearly thought was a power move. We're prepared to pay the back rent and stay current going forward if Olivia drops this vindictive eviction and stops harassing us with lawyers. Ethan didn't even look up from his legal pad. That's not how this works. You're 3 months behind on rent to a property owner who has legitimate grounds for eviction. The criminal charges are separate and non-negotiable. Criminal charges? Diane's voice cracked. What criminal charges? Gregory's face went red. This is insane, we're her parents. You're also her tenants, I said calmly, and you've been terrible at both jobs. Olivia, please, Diane tried the waterworks again. We can work this out as a family. Family, I said, pulling out a printed timeline that Ethan had prepared. Let's talk about family. In the 3 years since Jacob died, you've demanded $18,400 in Tyler payments. You've guilt-tripped me about family responsibility 127 times via text or voicemail. You've threatened me 23 times. Then you attacked me in my own home while my son watched and begged you to stop. Diane stared at the papers. Family doesn't keep score like this, Gregory protested, but his voice was shaky. You're right, I said, family also doesn't beat each other or traumatize children, but here we are. Uncle James leaned forward. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to take one of 3 options. Choose carefully because this is the only negotiation you're getting. He slid 3 folders across the table. Option 1. You pay the $4,800 you owe in back rent plus damages, agree to a structured payment plan for ongoing rent, submit to monthly financial oversight, and sign agreements never to contact Olivia outside of necessary landlord-tenant business. Tyler also agrees to pay for Olivia's phone and enters a no-contact agreement. Gregory opened the folder, and his face went white. Monthly financial oversight, what the hell does that mean? It means, Ethan explained, that you provide bank statements, employment records, and spending reports to ensure you can actually afford the rent before wasting everyone's time again. That's humiliating, Gregory said. That's accountability, I said. Uncle James continued. Option 2, you leave voluntarily by the eviction deadline, we provide a neutral rental reference for your next landlord, and the criminal charges get reduced to fines and community service. And option 3? Diane asked quietly. Uncle James smiled grimly. Sheriff's deputies remove you by force, you get evicted on your record, and you face the full criminal charges. Tyler goes to jail, Gregory goes to jail, and you probably get probation. You can't be serious, Gregory said. Dead serious. Your daughter has been documenting your behavior for months. Any jury in Arizona would convict you in 30 minutes, James said. The room went silent except for Diane sobbing. How long do we have to decide? Gregory asked. You don't, Ethan said. You decide right now in this room, or we go with option 3 by default. Gregory looked at Diane, then at me. For the first time since Jacob died, I saw something in his eyes that might have been respect or maybe just fear. Hard to tell the difference. Olivia, he said quietly, I need you to understand something. We never meant for it to go this far. It did go this far, I said. We're sorry about that, Gregory said. No, you're not. You're sorry there are consequences, I replied. Uncle James checked his watch. Clock's ticking. What's it going to be? Gregory and Diane huddled together for a whispered conversation. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see Diane shaking her head while Gregory got increasingly frustrated. Finally, Gregory straightened up. We'll take option 2. Smart choice, Ethan said, pulling out pre-prepared paperwork. You have 15 days to vacate. Any personal property left behind becomes part of the estate. As they signed the documents, Diane looked at me with genuine sadness. Olivia, I know you hate us right now, but we really did love you, we still do. I know, I said, that's what makes this so pathetic. They left without another word. Uncle James watched them through the window until their car disappeared. You okay? He asked. Better than okay, I said. But the story wasn't over yet. Tyler was still out there, still angry, and still stupid enough to try one last desperate play. 2 weeks later, everything came to a head in the most spectacular way possible. My parents had been packing up quietly, probably hoping to salvage some dignity from this disaster, but Tyler had other plans. See, what I didn't know was that he'd been telling his girlfriend in Vegas that his family was rich and he'd be getting a big inheritance soon. When that inheritance turned into eviction and criminal charges, she dumped him and kicked him out. So Tyler came crawling back to Tucson with nothing but rage and a plan for revenge. His plan was simple. If he couldn't have a comfortable life funded by his family, then nobody could have anything. Last Tuesday, while I was at work and Lucas was at school, Tyler broke into the duplex where my parents were packing, using his old key that they'd never bothered to get back from him. His plan was to trash the place, steal anything valuable, and make it look like random vandalism so I'd lose money on repairs. What he didn't count on was Uncle James's paranoia about security. See, after the phone incident, James had installed discrete security cameras around all my properties, not just visible deterrent cameras, but hidden ones that fed directly to his phone. So when Tyler's car pulled into the duplex driveway at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, James got a notification immediately. Tyler spent 2 hours destroying my property, kicked holes in walls, shattered windows, ripped out kitchen cabinets, even took a baseball bat to the bathroom fixtures. The hidden cameras caught everything in HD quality. James called the police and Ethan, then called me. "Your brother just made the biggest mistake of his life. I've got it all on video. The cops are on their way." I left work immediately and met James at the duplex. The damage was incredible, probably $15,000 worth of destruction. Tyler had destroyed the kitchen I'd spent $8,000 renovating, flooded the bathroom by breaking the toilet, and spray-painted profanity all over the walls. But here's the beautiful part: he was so focused on destruction that he didn't notice the cameras. The police showed up just as Tyler was loading my new washer and dryer into his car. James handed them the video evidence, and they arrested Tyler on the spot: felony breaking and entering, felony destruction of property, felony theft, and violation of the no-contact order from his previous charges. He started screaming about how this was his family's house and he had a right to be there. The cops were not impressed. That's when my parents showed up. They'd been at Home Depot buying moving boxes when Diane got a call from Tyler's girlfriend saying he'd been arrested. They rushed over and found Tyler in handcuffs, me documenting damage for insurance, and James explaining to police how his security system worked. "What happened?" Diane asked frantically. "Your son destroyed my property," I said calmly, "about $15,000 worth of damage." Gregory looked at the destruction, and his face went pale. "Tyler, what did you do?" "I did what needed to be done," Tyler shouted from the back of the police car. "She destroyed our family. I destroyed her stupid house." Gregory turned to me with desperation in his eyes. "Olivia, please, he's your brother, don't press charges." I looked at the destruction, then at Lucas, who had just arrived with Uncle James's wife, Sarah Carter. My son was staring at the damage with wide eyes, trying to understand why someone would do this. "Lucas," I said, "what do you think should happen to people who break other people's things?" "They should have to fix them and say sorry," he said quietly. "And if they can't fix them?" Lucas thought for a moment. "Then they should go to jail." "I'm pressing charges," I told the police officer, "full charges." The trial took 3 months. Tyler pleaded guilty to avoid federal charges but still got 18 months in county jail plus restitution. My insurance covered most of the damage, but Tyler owes me $3,200 in deductibles and lost rent. My parents left town quietly. Last I heard, they were living in a trailer park, both working minimum wage jobs to afford the rent. Gregory finally found his work ethic when facing homelessness, and Diane discovered that health issues don't prevent employment when you actually need money. The duplex is fully renovated and rented to a nice family with twin toddlers. They pay on time, take care of the property, and never once threatened to assault me over maintenance requests. Lucas and I moved into a bigger house in the foothills, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a pool. Lucas's got his own art studio now, and he started drawing again, happy pictures of our family, our dogs, our new life. Uncle James still calls every week to check on us. Ethan helped me set up a college fund for Lucas that's already at $50,000, and my property portfolio is now worth over $1.2 million. We live peacefully in it, our new life, built on the ashes of the one they tried to destroy, and I wouldn't have it any other way.